Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to create a print file. Let's get to it. Okay, so I have my working file here. As you can see at the top, I have it named my last name, my first name, my project name, working.psd, and you can see I have all of my layers still intact over here. So now when we get to printing, I want you guys to check in with me so I can look over your file and make sure that you're good to go on and move on to this phase of creating a print file. Once I give you the go ahead, then you're going to be following these steps. Okay, so I've done all this work here and I want to make sure I do a quick save, so Command S, there we go, Command S, to make sure that everything I've done on my working file is saved to this file, because we're going to be creating a new file specifically for printing. Okay, so it's almost done saving. Once it's done, we are going to come up to File, Save As, and I'm getting this quick error because it's still saving the background. So I'm going to pause the video for just a second while it finishes saving. Okay, so it's finished saving. I'm going to come up here to File, Save As, and we're going to go ahead and save it to your desktop. It usually works a little bit faster if it's pulling the file from the desktop. Just make sure that when you're done for the night that you are taking that file and putting it back onto your USB or your hard drive so you don't forget it here at school. If you forget it on the computer, it's going to get erased and your work's going to be gone. So remember, keep your files. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I have my folder here already on the desktop, and I'm going to change the file name. I'm going to change it to add the size I'm printing and the word print. And this is so later on, if I need to come back and print this again, I know which file to go to right away. All right, so for this specific file, I'm going to be printing 12 inches. So I'm going to put in 12x by 18 inches. And I'm going to put an underscore, and then in all caps, I'm putting in print. Okay, let's go ahead and hit save. And okay, all right. So this is now saving, and you can see up here that the file name has changed. This is a good thing to watch out for. Make sure that you are on your print file from now on. All right. So we want to make sure that we have the correct color profile for this image for printing. Now, printing here at school, we want to make sure we are on Adobe RGB 1998. So I'm pretty sure it should already be there. Your file should be there too if you've followed my directions on making sure you're shooting in Adobe RGB 1998 on your cameras. You generally don't want to be shooting in sRGB because it's a smaller color space and you're not getting the most out of the available colors. And if you did shoot in sRGB, I mean, switching, to Adobe RGB 1998, you're going to want to do that, but just note that it's not going to give you any more colors. You've already been in the small color space, so it's not going to give you any more colors. But let's go ahead and check. So I'm going to come up here to Edit and Convert to Profile. And right now my source space says Profile Adobe RGB 1998. Perfect. If it wasn't there, if maybe you have your settings set to ProPhoto or something like that, you can just click on Destination Space here and come down into Adobe RGB 1998, and it would go ahead and convert this. Now, note that if you do this, all of your layers at this point will be flattened. So this is another reason why we want to make sure we're working on our own print file. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just click OK anyways, and you can see right there that it has flattened down to one background layer. Okay, so if you remember, when we are printing on a porous paper. It's not going to be as smooth as what we see on the screen. So for that reason, we want to add some sharpening. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Command J to duplicate my layer. Oh, whoops, need to unlock it first. There we go. Command J. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and rename this sharpening. And this is good to do because we're going to do a print, but we might have to do some adjustments. So we can come back and play with this layer and sharpen some more if we need to, sharpen less. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and go to Filter, Sharpen, Smart Sharpen. Smart Sharpen. And what we're looking for is to sharpen it until it looks like it's just a little bit too sharp. It's not going to look great, you know, on the screen, but like I said, we're printing on a porous paper, so when it finishes printing, it should look pretty good. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to drag this up, and at this point, it's usually a good idea to size it up to about the size you're going to see the print. So that's probably about right there, and I'm just going to pull it up. And okay, so right now I've sharpened it and the texture of the skin is starting to look kind of funky, so I'm just going to pull back just a bit, maybe just a tad more. Okay, I think I'm going to try my first print right here, and let's see how well it does. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And next we're going to go ahead and adjust the brightness of the image. When we're looking at our photos on a screen, it's backlit. So when we print, it's not going to be as bright as what we're actually seeing on the screen. So now we want to go ahead and duplicate our sharpening layer. Don't want to duplicate the background layer, which is now layer 0, because that doesn't have the sharpening applied. We do that, basically the sharpening was pointless. So we want to make sure that we're duplicating the sharpening layer. So I'm going to hit Command J, and I'm going to rename this brightening. Alrighty, and now we're going to go ahead and change the layers blend mode to screen, and then change the opacity to 20%. So I'm going to go ahead and go here to screen, and you can see this automatically brightens it quite a bit. We don't want it that bright. And then I can click on opacity and either drag the slider, or I can just click on the 100% and enter 20 and return. And there we go. So let me turn this on and off, and you can see that it's just brightened it just a bit. So we're gonna go ahead and do our print and see if this is gonna work out. All right, now before we do that, we do need to go ahead and make sure we are at the right resolution and the image size for printing. So if you look at the bottom of my screen here, we do have some information from Photoshop, and I see that I have 6,000 by 4,000 pixels at 300 ppi. So I should have plenty of resolution to go ahead and print this at 12 by 18. And just an FYI, if you click right over here, there's all kinds of different information you can pull up over here, such as profile, document sizes, and such. All right, so let's come up here to image and image size. And I'm going to be printing at 12 by 18, so I can go ahead and turn off the resample. I want the resolution and everything to stay about the same. So let's put in my width as 18. And okay, nice. So my resolution, you can see, switched up to 333, so that's more than we actually need. So I can go ahead and click the resample again and go ahead and put in 300. Now we're at a perfect place. 18, 12, 300, that's exactly where we want to be. Okay. Now, if you remember from my earlier lecture, if you don't have enough for 300, you can try putting it in at 240. Then you can look at what the inches is going to be, and you may have to crop a little bit depending on the exact ratio of your photo to the size you're trying to print. If you need help with that, let me know. I'm happy to help. Just call me right over. Okay, so this is ready to go, and this would be the point, you know, if this didn't work and was exactly 12 by 18, let's say it turned out to be 12 by 20 when I put in my my numbers, then this would be the time where we go ahead and crop. So let's go ahead and pretend that did happen, just so I can give you a quick refresher on cropping. So if I did need to crop, I would pull up the crop tool, And right up here we have the ratio area, and you could put in the exact dimensions that you would want to crop. If there's already something here that you don't want, you can hit clear. There's also presets if you click on this arrow next to ratio. Okay, but I don't need to crop, so we're good to continue. All right, so now that I have this all ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and save, Command S, and we want to make sure that, oh, let's see what's going on. Oh, I was on Chrome instead of Photoshop. There we go. Clicked on Photoshop, Command S, and now it's saving. Now at this point you want to save it onto your USB, move it from the desktop onto your USB, because we're going to take that USB and bring it here into the Photo Lab to get it ready to print on one of our printers here.